Cesar Chavez was born March 31st, 1927, and passed away April 23rd, 1993. As a labor leader, he championed for social justice. He worked side by side with men, women, and children, doing back-breaking physical labor, and operated in unspeakable working conditions. He employed non-violent tactics to bring awareness to these poor working conditions, since farmers did not have to offer minimum wages, bathrooms, or drinking waters for the workers in the fields. He also brought awareness of the dangers of the pesticides in the fields that impacted the workers' health. He led marches, called for boycotts, and went on several hunger strikes. His dedication to his work earned him numerous friends and supporters. When children are taught in Washington State schools, they learn about Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, and President John F. Kennedy, but are not aware of who Cesar Chavez is and how he impacted positive change for the farm workers. He did so much for the people of all ethnicities, yet he is not part of our history books. My dad would always say, "How can you know where you're going if you don't know where you've been?" The Hispanic children of today need to know of their history as well, and the positive role models for them to emulate. It is intriguing to me to know that California honors Cesar Chavez on his birthday, yet it is an optional holiday in Colorado, Texas, Arizona, Michigan, Nebraska, and New Mexico. And states like Washington don't even mention Cesar Chavez at all. On the webpage takepart.com, ask for us to join in the petition to urge the President to declare March 31st as the Cesar Chavez National Day of Service. Even though President Barack Obama proclaimed March 31st as Cesar Chavez Day in 2014, Washington State does not recognize it. The President quoted this: "Today, let us honor Cesar Chavez and those who marched with him by meeting our obligations to one another. I encourage Americans to make this a national day of service and education by speaking out, organizing, and participating in service projects to improve lives in their communities. Let us remember that when we lift each other up, when we speak out with one voice, we have the power to build a better world." Myself, I knew of Cesar Chavez through my mom and dad, but I didn't truly understand the impact he made until I researched my presentation. I am inspired and amazed at his ability to peacefully gather thousands of people together. Steve Bender, the author of One Night in America, stated that Robert Kennedy and Cesar Chavez were optimists in sharing a vision for equality and united to crusade for the rights of the farm workers. Senator Robert Kennedy even called Cesar Chavez one of the heroic figures of our time. While Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement, he reached out in support of Cesar Chavez and taken a stand for injustice for all people. In the telegram, Dr. King wrote, "As brothers in the fight for equality." But the part I like the best is the last paragraph, which states, "We are together with you in spirit and in determination that our dreams for a better tomorrow will be realized." Was a co-founder with Cesar Chavez for the United Farm Workers Union in 1962. The two middle pictures show Dolores standing beside Robert Kennedy during a rally. She too was a huge advocate for social justice alongside Cesar Chavez. She is seen below receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Obama. And the picture on the right is a photo of Dolores with my mom. Cesar Chavez encouraged other activists to rally for the same causes in different parts of the United States. These are news clippings that my dad had saved over time. On the right shows 500,000 people coming together in support of immigration rights in Los Angeles. And I chuckled the sense of humor the newspaper had with the clipping on the right. Cesar was a man who served as an instrument for the betterment of others. I believe he inspired others to utilize their talents to benefit not only their families, but for the goodness of all mankind. My dad was a true believer in Cesar Chavez's vision for equality. Both he and my mom marched alongside Cesar Chavez on several occasions when we lived in California. When we relocated in eastern Washington, my dad continued Cesar's message for the farm workers by organizing rallies. The largest crowd that my dad brought together was over 5,000 people in attendance during a peaceful march for immigration reform. Key community leaders like my father used images of Cesar Chavez out of respect and as a symbolism during the events. Because of Cesar's strong commitment to the farm workers, people would rally together in eastern Washington to invoke change. During these events, key speakers would talk to the public about relevant issues that centered on workers' rights, fair wages, and encouraging legal citizens to vote. When Cesar Chavez passed in 1993, my dad celebrated his life by creating an altar for him during Dia de los Muertos. And now my mom and I have continued that tradition to honor both men that we highly respect. We continue to provide positive change for our community by raising funds for scholarships to higher education. Cesar Chavez's efforts have been recognized, as this webpage states that a new certification system is being established so consumers will know that their produce was given the best, and the farm workers tending to the crops are being treated fairly. This is a positive change that we owe to those who have fought so hard for these better working conditions. This is not just a paper for an assignment. It is about my cultural history and the cause that so many before us were willing to stand up for. Cesar Chavez devoted his life to rectify injustices for the farm workers. In each job, there should be dignity, every life has value, and people of every nationality should have the opportunity to a better life for themselves and their future of family members. His legacy lives on through Dolores Huerta, his children, and other activists that continue his efforts. Thank you for this opportunity to share this message that means so much to me. I wonder how history would have changed if Cesar Chavez, Robert Kennedy, and Martin Luther King were able to continue their fight for equality when all three lives had intersected. I watch these political debates today and question if we will ever have that trifecta again. I wonder who in the political arena is willing to sacrifice so much for others, which remains to be seen. Thank you.